Hello, and thanks for joining us for today's webinar titled, See How Education IT Recovers in Minutes. I'm Kevin Collins from Unitrends, and I'm here with Dick Sappler from Product Marketing and Jordan Warsoff from Sales Engineering, and they'll be taking us through the presentation today. And don't forget, one lucky attendee will be walking away with a $100 Amazon gift card. We'll contact the winner via email after the webinar. But before we get started, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items. This session will be recorded, and after the event, you'll receive an email with a link to the on-demand version of the webinar. I would also encourage you to ask questions throughout the presentation. You can do so by typing them into the bottom right-hand corner of the player. We'll answer your questions at the end of the session. At this point, I'll turn it over to Dick. Enjoy the presentation, and Dick, take it away.
Thanks, Kevin. Hey, everybody. I appreciate you joining us today and hope not to take too much of your time, but this is a pretty important topic now considering the environment that we're living in. As Kevin said, my name is Dick Sappler. I'm the Product Marketing Manager for Unitrends, and I'm joined with Jordan Warsoff, and he'll do the demos later on during the presentation. Part of my job here at Unitrends is I'm managing our customer success program, and as such, I talk to customers literally almost every day, and almost each week I talk to a couple of education customers. So I've developed a great understanding of how unique and different the education market is. So really the goal of this webcast is to give you folks, the education IT professionals, an idea of what your peers are doing and kind of best-in-class practices that you can follow in the educational institutions. So just a couple of minutes, though, first on education. And education is really a unique industry. And as such, you have unique data backup and business continuity issues. And so I just wanted to take you through some of these that you might be familiar with. But first, let me just show you the experience that we at Unitrends have with the educational marketplace. We literally have thousands of educational customers, and I'm talking K through 12, universities, and literally institutions around the world. On our website, we have a lot of customer success stories. There's probably, I'd say, 25 to 30 that have to do with educational institutions of all sizes, and I encourage you to read some of those. The quotes that you see on this presentation, they come directly from our customers and conversations we've had about their challenges. But first, let me share with you about 6 challenges that we find in the educational marketplace. First is that most educational institutions have very stretched IT departments. You need a public process for public schools in order to raise new funds. For governments, you have town meetings, and the funding, you have to compete with other aspects of the education institution, whether it's hiring other teachers, more gym equipment, and so forth. So any investment in IT is a very contentious process. You also have an aging infrastructure. There's really no budget to buy anything new. Your hardware and software has to go beyond its useful life. You use a lot of Scotch tape and glue in order to keep your processes running longer than they should. And in general, you have multiple backup solutions that are required that cover different technologies. And so this creates gaps in your coverage and causes kind of a kludgy process that you have to run and manage in order to protect your data. There's still a lot of educational institutions that are dependent on tape, but as the backup window, as the volumes of data grow, the backup windows have to grow, and for some organizations I've talked to, it takes the entire weekend in order to do a backup. And production services are affected during the backup windows, and if they don't copy correctly, you don't really know about it. The tape doesn't show that any data is lost until you're actually forced to go in and try to use it. You also have a lot of data privacy requirements, mandates from both the state and federal levels. Many times the data is about juveniles, children, and therefore it must be protected. If there's anything to do with health, it comes under HIPAA, and so you have to meet all of these requirements for managing your own data. And finally, the top 2 challenges that you have, the number 1 request of IT is recovering lost files and continuing being a target for ransomware. These are the topics we're going to go into in greater detail today, and a little bit demonstration from Jordan. But first, let's get a little bit more into the details around the requirements for lost file recovery. There's perhaps no IT organization in any other industry that has to support as large a number of users and as a large number of unsophisticated users as the educational IT people. You're dealing with kids. They are really the targets of clickbait, and they're highly unsophisticated in their use of computers. They regularly delete and lose emails, files, folders all the time. And using tape is a terrible method of having to recover lost files or emails. So at Unitrends, our advantage in this area is that we have a single UI that runs across all of our products. And for even untrained IT staff, they can easily find and restore a file. And you use the same process whether you're doing an entire file, a folder, or a full data set. And really, you should be able to restore a deleted file in less than 5 minutes from full logon to full user access. And so at this point, I'm going to pass the baton over to Jordan, and he's going to show how this is possible with the Unitrends products.
Awesome. So what I'm going to show you now is the main screen from our Unitrends installation. This is a software installation we happen to have. We also have a physical appliance. Here I can view the status at a high level of everything that's going on. But in this case, if I'm wanting just to recover a single file, I'm going to do recoveries all in the Recover tab. It's laid out in the UI as a very logical way. What do I want to do? It's then going to be presented here. From here, I can see all the different backups that I've had based on this filtration, default to the last week. So let's say I want to recover the file from my most recent backup from my file server. This here is a snapshot. So I'm going to be able to, I've been taking VM snapshots of this VMware file server, and I can actually recover an individual file just by clicking this button. I'm going to confirm that I want to mount and start recovery. Give this maybe 10 to 30 seconds, and it's going to mount it, and I'm going to be able to browse and find that individual file. In this case, I'm going to find a specific PDF that I accidentally deleted. I'm going to come here. I'm going to browse the directory of this virtual machine. Here I can see the virtual disks, and I can come right to my documents, and I can see any of the files that I may have wanted to recover. I think I keep this one in. Oh, I know where we put them. Brad, I think, was holding on to some of our PDFs. And here they are. I can grab a single PDF, or I can even recover a whole folder and simply click download, and it's going to immediately start a zip file that I can then download, and will have all of these files in it that I can then bring and then recover to wherever I need it to go. So I can utilize that as a part of my recovery process. So it's great to kind of provide this high-level and easy-to-use approach to be able to recover these files. Let's say you have a physical server. In that case, I'm going to come back to the Recover tab, and I can find here is an example of my Oracle server. If I want to recover just a specific file within that, same approach. I select which backup I want to recover, and let's say I want to recover one that's from a while ago, not just from recently. So let's say I want to go back to January. You might not have backups that old. I'm going to go ahead and filter for them. I don't look like I have any, so let's go a little more recent. I want to grab the oldest backup from that Oracle server. So here I'm going to here, come to the oldest backup. Looks like we've got some stuff from April. You notice these are purple. This means they're actually imported. So this was imported from a tape or a hard disk, so I can use this to get my data off-site, keep it long-term, and bring it back in as needed. So here I deleted a file back at the end of April. I can come here to the Recover Files tab. And here I can automatically start browsing, find the document or folder that I want, and I can start that recovery. Here you can see the zip files all done from the VM, and now here is my specific file that I want to be able to recover from within, get my music back. From here, set up where I wanted to recover the target to, and I'm good to go. Simply hit save and it's going to recover it. Alternatively, you can have the kind of zip file, and this here is from the VM from before, where I've got all the different files and stuff in this zip that I can then use to recover. And once you're done, you can easily tear it down, and you're good to go. But it's that easy to be able to recover a file. You can browse through, and we even have role-based access control, so you can make sure that those users that aren't trained only have access to recover the files from the specific servers you want them to. So it's kind of nice to have that granularity of control as well as ease of being able to recover. I'll send it back to you, Dick, to take us through the rest of it.
Thanks, Jordan. You can see that this task and how short it took. This is, all the time I'm told, that this is the #1 task of IT in the educational space. And so if you consider that you save yourself 15, 20 minutes every time you have to restore a file, you're talking about really saving a lot of time in your day and allowing you to go off and do other more productive tasks. So now we're going to shift over to something that's very critical, and this is ransomware detection. About 60% of organizations report they've been attacked by ransomware last year, and I'm fond of saying 60% will tell you they've been attacked and 40% are liars, because quite frankly, most organizations now have come under attack. People say that about 40% of email spam now contains ransomware links. And if you go on YouTube, you can actually see that ransomware pirates are advertising their services to people who want to get in the ransomware business. It's becoming that prevalent. And needless to say, with all that email spam running around and with the sort of user population that you're supporting of kids, university students, and so forth, you can try to train them as much as you can around not clicking on attachments from people they don't know, but all it takes is literally a single click, and you're then in trouble, and your databases and infrastructure is exposed. So Unitrends has several defenses against ransomware. First, the Unitrends appliances are written in hardened Linux, not Windows. With the prevalence of Windows in the marketplace, ransomware pirates are going after, obviously, the largest market share, and that's Windows-based appliances, not Linux-based. So if you have a Windows-based ransomware detection and protection platform, it can become a part of the problem and not part of the solution. Secondly, Unitrends products have predictive analytics capabilities so that they can detect a ransomware attack that has either just occurred or is occurring. By looking at the change rates between a backup file they did before the attack versus a file structure after it's been encrypted by the ransomware software. At that point, an alert would be sent out to the administrator, and you are then alerted earlier that a ransomware attack is occurring so that you can start the recovery process before the ransomware really gets going. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to turn the computer and the screen back over to Jordan so that he can show you how that works.
Awesome. Thank you, Dick. So I'm going back to this main screen. And what we want to be able to do is be able to recover a machine that's been infected with ransomware, and we also want to know whether or not we've been infected. Unitrends provides the proactive alerting right here under the Alerts tab. You can actually see I guess we don't have one right now, but it would appear right within this alert where you'd be able to go and you could see the ransomware detection. It will let you know that there was a proactive monitoring that occurred and that you should check this specific client in case there was some kind of issue. The nice thing is this alert goes out with the rest of your email reporting. So with Unitrends, you're getting a daily report, and these alerts will come up immediately. So you'll know if there's an identified outlier in your incremental backup where it looks like a lot of the files have changed, which is a common indicator for ransomware. And it's using machine learning to be able to detect and determine what's standard for you and what should be expected with that kind of infection. So let's say you've been hit and you want to be able to recover some of the files. We saw how easy it is to be able to recover an individual file. I could choose to say, let's say my file server, I lost everything. I want to find my most recent backup, and I just want to recover all the files. I can do that here, set it back up to that server, just even if I need to pick a specific directory. And once I hit save here, it's going to start recovering all the files over the files that were from before. This way, you can ensure that you have, if there was anything that was encrypted by the ransomware virus, this would take care of recovering over that stuff because you have those previous backups that are good and recoverable. On top of that, if you had some kind of virtual machine that went down or was encrypted with ransomware and it's a production machine that you need up and running, maybe some kind of, you've got like a Latte or one of the other Moodle for your classrooms and teachers or professors are yelling at you, you need to get that VM back up and online. Unitrends offers instant recovery technology. So let's say, for example, I'm going to use this SQL Server as an example. I want to recover this VM quickly. I can come here to this instant recovery feature. And I can do what's called a VM instant recovery. What this is going to do is, utilizing storage vMotion, I'm going to immediately spin up this virtual machine in my environment ready to go. And you can see I'm doing it in audit mode, so that way I don't actually disrupt the SQL Server that's running live, but in an emergency scenario, you wouldn't even bother with audit mode, you would just go forward. So here I'm going to go in and I'm going to hit save this so we can go watch it happen from the console. I'm going to hit save and that recovery is going to start. I'm going to go on in. We're going to look at the vCenter. We can actually watch this VM recover live right in front of our eyes. So let me go ahead and log in and show that to you. The cool thing is this technology doesn't need to be done local. If you have multiple sites or you're utilizing some kind of colo, you could actually utilize all of these recovery options at the secondary site. So you can make sure that you're able to recover no matter what kind of disaster may occur. And that's kind of important, being able to come back and be able to continue with your business no matter what kind of things the pirates throw your way. And that could come with recovering those individual files, which you could download from the Unitrends cloud or your own secondary sites, or you can utilize with our own recovery technology. I think I'm logging into the wrong one. It's 110. But from here, I can see the success has started, and I can actually even view the job that's running right from within the recovery, the instant recovery tab. And I can see here that the restore is already up and live, and if I want to, I could even find the VM itself, and it's available for use. So I could actually go in and I can browse and go into and manage this server. So I can let me grab the, one sec. So it's already in less than 5 minutes ready to be spun up and utilized in these kind of disaster scenarios. So it's less than 5 minutes, so I think this one was even up in, it looks like less than a minute that it was able to get up and running. And so this works with VMware, Hyper-V, and even instances of Windows in your environment. So you can utilize a server that is a Windows server, back it up, and you can recover within your VMware environment, your local environment, or your own Unitrends appliance itself. Looks like they changed the password on me. I'll give one more shot on this.
Yeah, the point that Jordan brought up about having multiple locations, we find that educational institutions do have one unique advantage over other businesses, is that generally school districts and universities are spread across the wide geographic area, so that you already have kind of built-in secondary sites that you can use for backup and recovery. So we encourage you obviously to use that for your advantage, without having to pay to have a colo, which a lot of single-site businesses have to do.
Cool. So I'll go ahead and take it back to you, and we can kind of look at, we can kind of see what other stuff we might be able to throw and help out with our education customers.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jordan. So let me just take you through a little bit of kind of the metrics that we've been talking about on this webcast. You should not take more than 5 minutes to recover a lost file. And that's literally from login to full user access. So multiply that savings across the number of times you get asked to recover somebody's file. Also the time that you'll save from proactive, predictive ransomware detection. A lot of the ransomware viruses now will not even alert you when they start their work. What they do is they literally will lurk on your system for days and weeks at a time so that they can corrupt the maximum number of files they can reach. By finding it out in advance, you limit the data, the damage that can be done, and speed up the recovery times. You should be able to recover from a ransomware attack in as little as 20 minutes. Jordan just showed you a simple one that we covered in 5 minutes. But literally, if you have good, solid backups that have been tested with recovery assurance, you can begin the recovery process right away. And then literally in total, you should be spending about less than an hour per week managing your backups. You set it and forget it, scheduling, email confirmations that backups have occurred successfully, notices if the backup has not occurred and the reason why. All of this really simplifies the whole process of managing backups in your environment. And the reason why we're able to do this is we really have a total all-in-one solution for backup and recovery. So if you were to try to put together a custom-built backup and recovery solution, you're probably talking about using 9 or 10 different components and vendors that you would have to piece together. You'd have to worry about versions, compatibility issues, and so forth. All of that is taken care of by Unitrends. We have a single appliance, literally rack, connect, and go, and you begin your backups within the day. So automatic, and it also includes all integration into cloud, either Unitrends cloud or public hyperscale clouds such as Amazon or Azure. So really what you should be looking for in a vendor is people don't want to think about backups. You want fewer vendors with one call, no finger pointing. You want to call Unitrends, and we cover the solution from beginning to end. You want to have flexibility into what you can cover. You don't want to have to use lots of agents. You also want more uptime from your appliances, as we've demonstrated how quickly you can recover in a ransomware attack. You want confidence that your products, your systems will recover quickly, and therefore freeing up your time so that you can go on and do higher priority work that you obviously went to IT school to learn. You didn't go to IT school to learn how to do backups. You were there to learn how to make your user communities more productive and successful in their business. So we call ourselves a New World Enterprise Backup and Continuity Provider. Really, our advantages are one vendor, one throat to choke, less work, local and cloud continuity depending on your business requirements, more security, and unified customer satisfaction with more confidence. It really is that simple. So in summary, you guys really do have a unique unique IT environment, and the Unitrends products are built so that you can work in that environment and be far more effective. So at this point, we have a few call to actions for you. We have some free trials of our software and products that are available for download or for requesting. We have some demos of a little bit more detailed than what we saw today here. And we have a community of experts that be happy to talk to you at any time about your specific needs and how we can meet them. So at this point, let me turn this back over to Kevin and any Q&A questions that will come in. Kevin, why don't you tee those up for us?
Sounds good. Thank you. Great presentation, guys. Let's see. Let's jump right in. And actually, just a quick reminder, there's still time to ask questions. You can do so by typing them into the bottom right-hand corner of the player. And let's get started. First question is, how does Unitrends license their software and appliances?
Go ahead, Jordan.
Sure. So with Unitrends, you have two options. With our physical appliance, there's no licensing required. It's no limits licensing. You get the Unitrends appliance, and you're able to get as many agents, VMs that you can back up on there. With our software, it is licensed based on the number of physical servers and virtual machine hosts that you want to back up. Not your entire environment, just the machines that you actually want to protect. You then add that up, you purchase the licenses for that, and that's all you need with our virtual edition. And it's just a matter of which edition of our software you want, starting at the essentials with the bare, the limited backup options, and then you get more and more recovery options all the way up to Enterprise Plus, which allows automated recovery testing, integration with AWS and Azure, and much, much more.
Okay. Next question is, where are your data centers located, and can we choose where our data sits?
Yeah, you can have some choice over the data centers. We have data centers all around the globe, in America, Canada, the UK, Germany, and Australia are our current ones. You can choose which one, and the data will stay within that country of your choosing. So if you need to keep some kind of compliance within the States and make sure it doesn't leave the United States, you can do that by choosing our U.S. cloud location.
Okay, next question is, how do you actually detect ransomware, and how easy is it to roll back to the last backup before the infection?
Good question. So I feel like we kind of demonstrated that, but I can actually show the alert real quick. Yeah, it was hiding from me, but I pulled up another option where basically it looks like this. So this over here is the alert you'll get. It'll tell you here we have a desktop that we actually purposefully infected. So here I can see why it thought there's an issue, and here it is, and I can go in and I can recover that, and if I need to recover that server, I'll come right back here, select the virtual machine, hit it, do that instant recovery, and then you'll see it up and running within our vCenter. So super quick recovery, and all these recovery options are available both locally and remotely. So if you have multiple sites, you can manage all that from the single pane of glass, really easy to use, so you can exactly go on making sure that your students, your educators, your admins, your staff, your teachers, everyone can be productive and go on with their days, not have to worry about how long and how detrimental this is going to be.
Okay, here's a question that ties into that. How does Unitrends verify that my backups are working so that I can recover when I need to?
Okay, that's a great question. We have two main options. One is, with any backup you set up, you can do what's called the verify the backup. It'll do hash checking to make sure that all the data we're receiving is the data that was from the source appliance, the source asset, and that way you can at least verify the data transfer was successful. That still doesn't necessarily tell you that you can recover from the backup. Unitrends has a tool called Recovery Assurance, and I kind of hinted at it. This tool enables you to automate the recovery testing process where we can go down to the application level and test the recoverability of your backups. So we can go in and automatically spin up a VMware VM, test to make sure the SQL queries work, test to make sure it can communicate with the AD server, all sorts of stuff that you may want to be able to do to verify that that works without manually having to do it. How great would it be to be able to do a DR test automatically every single day? Our Recovery Assurance tool can enable you to be able to do that.
Okay. Next question is, how often does our system kind of scan for or look for ransomware, and can they set it up so that it's every 5 minutes or every 24 hours?
Sure. So the scanning occurs with every backup. It's machine learning based on the backup. So we're not proactively scanning your systems. What we're doing is we're testing the data we get from the backup. This way, there's no increased impact to your production. This way, you're using the backups you already have for this kind of feature and functionality. And that way you can get it as soon as the backup occurs, and if there's a backup that's funky, you can go back to the previous backup and recover that instead. So how often does it occur? It occurs with every single backup. So that's however often you're setting up your backups is how often the scan will occur, and it occurs with every single one that we perform.
All right, next question. I've heard about the 3-2-1 rule of backups. Can you go into a little bit more detail on what that means?
Sure. The main idea behind the 3-2-1 rule of backup is the best way to protect yourself from disaster, from intrusion, from inability to recover is to just follow the 3-2-1 rule. The 3-2-1 rule is that you need 3 copies of your backups in 2 different formats, and one of those backups needs to be off-site. So for example, if you have a local Unitrends appliance, we're getting the data from the production onto the Unitrends appliance. There's 2 copies. And if you were to replicate that off-site to the Unitrends cloud, that's a different format in our cloud, and a 3rd copy that's off-site. So you're doing the 3-2-1. That doesn't mean you need to stop at 3. It doesn't mean you need to stop at 2 or 1, or maybe going 4-1-1 is enough for you. There's a lot of different options out there. Unitrends allows you to not only get it off-site to a secondary appliance or to our cloud, we also allow you to copy backups to local hard drives. So that way you can take hard drives off-site rather than having to manage a tape library and taking tapes and demagnetizing and being uncertain about their recoverability, as we have seen in many education customers who want to get away from tape. We can still provide that functionality without actually needing to purchase an LTO, tape library.
All right. One more question and then we'll wrap it up. Can you talk a little bit about how granular Unitrends can get in terms of recovering kind of files as opposed to kind of bigger applications?
Sure. So basically with a recovery, we have multiple options. We've seen the VM level recovery where it works with VMware, Hyper-V, or Citrix Zen Server. We've seen file level recovery where we can recover a folder, an individual file, or even a whole drive. Lastly, we can also recover individual applications. So here's an Exchange backup we're performing. These are all fulls. I can go in and I can recover that Exchange backup to any Exchange server on my environment. So it's loading to see if there's any Exchange servers that are present. I can simply select one, and I'll be able to recover right to that server, and that Exchange database will take care of all that. I'll get the EDB over, it'll sync it, and get it all set up. So here we've got Exchange 2016. I can recover to there, can recover it to a different database or back to the original location. And if there's any commands, and it'll be good to run and hit save. So it's as easy as that, being able to set up with the Exchange and being able to recover that piece. You can also do Exchange incrementals, recover that, or even SQL. We can recover specific SQL databases, and you can recover those back to the same SQL server or a different one as needed. We also have transaction log backups for SQL. There's a lot of options out there.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. We'll wrap it up now. As a reminder, this webinar was recorded, and you'll receive a link. You'll receive an email with a link to the on-demand version. We'll also announce the $100 Amazon gift card winner in that email as well. Thanks again for joining us, and we look forward to having you on future webinars. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.